Hey, scrappers and recyclers, it's Shark Scrapper. Those of you that have been on my Sunday afternoon live streams, I go live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, U.S. Eastern Time, and talk about what's going on in the precious metals and industrial metals and things related to the scrap and recycling industry. Anyway, those of you that have joined me and then gone with us over to Ireland, you know that I've been having some challenges lately when I come up on Scrapping Irish's live stream with an echo. And then last Sunday, I had all kinds of trouble. PC crashed. Just lots of weird things going on. Well, I got Geek Shark involved and we did some experiments, and my business computer worked fine by itself. My personal computer worked fine by itself. But when they tried to go through this KVM switch, that's when things got hanky. So I believe that there is a problem with the KVM switch as a result of that troubleshooting. I have since purchased a new KVM switch. It's a little newer and it's working fine. Everything is back to somewhat normal. I'm still having a little audio problem with the personal computer. That may be the PC. It's an older Windows 10 and it could just be that it's on its last legs. Anyway, a KVM switch, those of you that have used these before, you know what they do. They switch between computers and display on various monitors. Now, this particular KVM switch allows you to switch between two PCs and go to two different monitors. Now, I'll show you in another screen the current setup and how useful that can be, because when I'm doing my live stream, I'll have the app up, the EVMux app up on one screen where I'm controlling everything. And then on the right-hand screen, I can have all of the charts and graphics and pictures and other things ready to go and bring those over as I need them. So it's very useful to have multiple screens, unless you can afford one of the really big screens. And that's just what the KVM switch does. Now, a quick discussion of the KVM switch and the setup. This is, a lot of you probably already do this or you're familiar with this sort of thing. Two screens so that you can multitask. When I'm live streaming, I'll have the live streaming app going on the left side. And on the right side, I want to have the charts and data and stuff like that I pull up on a regular basis. So I can just move this over here. And now I've got my charts and whatever other data that I'm going to use is ready to go over here on the right-hand side. And looks like copper was up, down. Yeah, well, anyway, enough about copper. That's not what we're here to talk about. So I can be controlling my live stream here. I can have these ready to go when I want to switch over and bring those up to talk. Now, I keep my business work separate from my personal work, but I don't want to have four monitors going. So the KVM switch, which you see right down here, takes the inputs and the control signals from both computers, puts them one or the other up on my two monitors. And then this particular switch, VPFCT, very simple to set up and use, and it's a very nice button you push. It feels, like a button, you've pushed it. And then now I'm switched over to what would otherwise be my personal stuff. So I can take care of the family stuff here, I can game, I can do whatever, not on the business computer. And then it's just a button push, and it would be nicer if it was a little bit faster, but oh well, that's just what it is. So now we're back over on the business end of things. So that's what a KVM switch does. It allows me to use both monitors and switch between my business PC and my personal PC as I need to, and only have to use one keyboard, one mouse, the same monitors. Now, here's the issue. Did this KVM switch go bad? Clearly something isn't working, and clearly it's related to the KVM switch. Will we be able to figure it out just by opening this thing up? I don't know. We're gonna dive in and take a look here. Looks like it's time for some new gloves. And I can get a few more scraps out of these. Now we're gonna set the cables aside right now. There's not much we can do there. We'll just cut those ends off and get that cable put in, probably with my number 2 insulated. Then let's get these feet out of the way because they're kind of blocking some screws. They're just these rubber feet. Get rid of them. Into the trash. Yeah, na. Well, there's 4 little Phillips screws here holding this together. All right. I mean, from a scrap perspective, I'm not expecting a lot. The wire to the controls button here, this is the button that you push when you want to switch between the two. This little bitty board isn't going to have much. Maybe 1 or 2 tactile switches on it. Yeah, so we've got some really teeny tiny little components and 2 tactile switches here. So we're going to chuck that in with the low grades. And that is ferrous, so we chuck that in with shred. This is all going to be shred here. All right, we have 2 distinct boards. All right, we get the wires off of here. This is just going to be number 3 insulated. Let me get this first card out of the way. It's not a bad card, actually. We have a whole bunch of MLCCs. IC. We have a lot of gold Enig all over this card. These are gold plated, plus there'll be gold plated connectors for the HDMI ports. We have more ICs. That's probably a MOSFET or a FET of some sort. We have some teeny tiny little MLCCs. And these are probably had a little tiny copper wire in there. Yeah, so that's actually a nice, that would be a nice peripheral board. No issues with that. So we can throw that in with our peripherals. I'm going to put in with the peripheral high grades. I don't see anything that, you know, we're not going to be able to tell. I don't have the capabilities to test components to determine if a component failed in here somewhere, unless it is obvious from looking at it. This chip looks fine. I don't see anything discolored. There's no scorch marks, nothing of that nature. Oh, I just noticed there's gold edge crystal oscillator right there. Anyway, I don't see anything obvious on this board that would suggest why the KVM switch started malfunctioning. Let's see, that's the power switch. There was no issues with the power. The thing always came on and off without any trouble, so I'm not worried that there was a problem there. Let's get those wires out and put those with the number 3 insulated. And we'll get this board off of here. We've got what appears to be brass risers and then the screws. So let's get these guys out of here. Are you brass? You are. And then that's just more shred. So, all right, now then we're looking very closely here at this board. Again, I don't see any obvious scorching, although the legs on this chip look a little weird. I don't know if you all can see that, but the legs appear strange on one side of that chip. Now, it's actually a very nice... Whoa, we found it. We found it, folks. Yes, we did. Hang on, let me show you. There's our problem right there. This component obviously blew. You can see the burn mark. You can see its discoloration. And there's some discoloration along here that would suggest that it affected whatever was going on there. Actually, this whole area here appears discolored, and I wonder if that's from this component failing, or if something on the component that's on the other side of this failed. Let's see, what's on the other side of that? This jack here. And that was a power jack. This was where the power came in. So something happened with the power, apparently. Even though it would still power on and off, this component clearly failed. And let's see if I can see what the letter is. That looks like a D. All right, well, you know, I really like when I can figure out what failed. There are channels where the creator of the channel has the test equipment and the necessary equipment to remove a component like that, replace that component, test the board again, see if there was anything else that was damaged. I just don't happen to be that channel. But it's very satisfying to be able to open up something and be able to physically see that something failed, and that helps to explain the malfunction. Well, I hope you found this as satisfying as I did. I just love it when I can figure out why something has failed. All right, I'm going to go find something else that's failed that I can scrap out. And while I'm doing that, how about if you check out the videos that are popping up on either side of the screen here, and the round one in the middle. That's to help you to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode of Shark Scrapper. Be safe. We'll see you all on the next one.